Okay, so my name is Sandy, which Tom probably told you down below, but I'm going to be your guide in this cave system. I'm a naturalist. I actually live in Pend Oreille County. I've been here since '95, came over from the west side. So I'm really familiar with all the native plants. I did that for 20 years here in the county. I did native plant restoration work on the river and stream system. So if you have any plant questions, I'm it. I'm also going to give you the cave tour. Tom is our geologist. He's the rock guy. I'm the plant lady. Okay? Alrighty. History. Everybody knows this is Crawford State Park. Anybody want to tell me what the name of the cave is? Gardner Cave, right. So have any of you been here before? One, two? Okay, great. So Ed Gardner was a very colorful character. He came from the Midwest in the 1800s, went over to Seattle to visit his brother, apparently got in a little bit of trouble over there, came back this direction, decided to settle here. So he actually built a little cabin, a shack, down by where Boundary Dam is today. Our Homestead Act wasn't in place yet, so he couldn't, secure a piece of land, so he squatted. Now, he had to support himself. He hunted, he fished, he did some placer mining, but he was most well known for his illegal bootlegging. So he made illegal whiskey and he ran it across the border. It's just a half a mile over there. Okay. So I'm assuming when you guys are all done with this tour, you're probably going to want to take a walk to Canada. Okay? When you get back there, when you get to the end, you're going to find a picnic table and a boundary sign. So just stop there. It's not a legal entry point, but a lot of folks like to put 1 foot on one side. So they got a foot in each country and take a photo, okay? So you can do that. They're used to us up here, but they are watching both sides. So just don't go across, alrighty? Okay, so he had his illegal whiskey business going. Apparently he had a pretty good system. We understand that he had a log that had a hole in it for some of his clients. He would roll the log over, put the whiskey bottles in, roll the log back over. His clients would come, roll the log over, take the whiskey bottles out, put the money in, and then roll the log back over. So he was pretty efficient at it. He, of course, didn't want to get caught. So one day he was up here hunting in the area, and it was in the winter. And this cave is 39 degrees constant. Doesn't matter if it's 20 below zero up here or 103 up here. It's 39 down inside. So Ed came up here in the winter. He was hunting, and if it was even a degree cooler up here than it is in this cave system, what might he have seen coming out of this cave? Pardon? Steam. Might have seen animals too. There might have been cougar down in there. There might have been bear. There was no gates on it at the time. But he would have seen steam, and he would have gone, aha, I have a place to stash my illegal brews, and the law can't find me. So he tried to keep it a secret, but he didn't do a very good job at it. He must have told one too many people. Pretty soon, lots of people were coming in here on ropes with candles, lanterns, matches, such. So in 1921, William Crawford, who the park is named after, he actually knew about this cave system by then, and he decided that if he could get hold of this land, he might be able to bring in tourism for the communities, give them some revenue, which was a great idea. He also decided, and just seconds later, if he could get the land and donate it to state parks, we would bring in even more tourism, and here we are. So that's what he did. He got a land grant for this piece of land, and he deeded it to state parks in 1921. He clear cut everything first before he gave it to us, so he could get a little revenue from that. So now we're in 1921, the parks have it. Not much happened between 1921 and 1955. People were still kind of coming in here at their own free will with lights, candles, matches, and such. 1955, parks decided they better start putting in some structures and some lighting systems so people could see when they're down in there without having to carry candles and such. They put wood structures in here. What happens when you put wood in a really moist environment? It rots, and it did. It rots. So that didn't work too well. They also put in their lighting system. That lighting system failed miserably. It would go out at the most inopportune moment, casting everybody into pitch blackness. At the very end of this tour, I am going to show you just how dark that is, and I'm going to show you some other really cool things when I got the lights out down there, okay? If everybody's comfortable with it. Yes? Yes! So I'm just going to tell you about who we have inside. Okay, so let me tell you how we upgraded the stairs and the lights, and then I will tell you about our inhabitants, because this is their neighborhood, okay? In the 90s, in the 70s and the 90s, we upgraded to this structures you see pretty much here, and we upgraded the lighting system. For the most part, we are good to go. The lights are great, but if power goes out up here, we're North Ponderay County. We do have big storms. Power goes out, we go out down there, alrighty? So I have just a little safety heads up. If the lights go out anywhere between this gate and the landing at the very end where I am going to tell you I'm turning them out on purpose, I want you guys to just stop immediately. These statues, don't move, because you won't be able to see your feet, you won't be able to see your hand in front of your face, and I don't want anybody to fall. Nearest hospital is Colville. It's a beautiful drive, but it's a long way over there, and you can't see the view from the back of an ambulance. So please be careful. So if that were to happen, it's happened to me once, one last season. Here's the heads up. You stop, you don't move. Within seconds, I've got lights coming on. You guys all have cell phones or flashlights. We got plenty of light in there, and I'll walk you out. Okay? It's just important to stop. Alrighty? Okay, so when we go down inside, we don't touch any of the formations, we don't touch any of the rocks, and the reason is because the oil on our hands actually interrupts the calcite, the flow going over these formations. It causes it to dry, and it turns dark, and it will never grow again. And unfortunately, I'll show you some good examples of it down there where people in the past, before we got it locked up, damaged a lot of it, but we also have some very stunning, the majority of them are very stunning calcite formations. Alright, so back to our bats. We have bats. We know that they hibernate in here in the winter because it's pretty balmy at 39 degrees in here compared to 20 below up here. So they spend their winters down inside here. It's quiet, nobody's going down through there except our other inhabitants, which I will tell you about in a minute. So the bats usually come out in the spring when it starts warming up. So they're not down in there now, as far as we know. We're pretty sure that they've already exited for the summer. They eat how many insects, like mosquito type, in an hour? One bat? Anybody know? 1,000 to 1,200 an hour. These are our little tiny Myotis bats. So they're just little brown bats, they're not very big, but they're super at helping us get rid of some of these mosquitoes. Just think how bad it would be if they weren't out here. So anyway, alright, so we've got bats down in there. I'm sure Tom talked to you about the white nose syndrome. Okay, so we won't need to go there. Just think about bats if you go to another cave. Just kind of keep them in the back of your mind so we keep them safe. We also have another inhabitant. We have native pack rats. The bushy-tailed wood rat lives down in here. It's a native species to Washington. Well, all sorts of lots of areas in the country here on the west. They are known as bushy-tailed wood rats, pack rats, trade rats. They're about this big, including their tail. They look like a really cute mouse, only bigger. They're very gentle. They're not aggressive. They scatter as soon as I turn the lights on down there, so the chances of us seeing one are very slim, but they are incredibly important, and they have been in this cave system for thousands of years, generation after generation after generation. They are historical archivists. They're data keepers for us. Their big middens that are down inside are like time capsules. Okay, so scientists can go into those and pull out data thousands of years old, and can tell from that what the climate was 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. Some of these middens they have found are 40 to 50,000 years old. So these little critters have been in there a long time in different places around this country and Canada. We don't think our pack rat midden down there is more than 10,000 years old, because before that we had an ice sheet up here and they wouldn't have been going down. But they've been in there a long time. And when you figure that they only live about 3 years, that's a lot of generations, for thousands of years accumulation. So they have a great habit of bringing in everything. They're vegetarians. They eat plants. They come up here at night and they eat the plants that are up here. They pick up things off the forest floor for their nest sites, twigs and things. They bring them down. They come up at night through this area. You're going to notice a smell when we first go down right in this area, but luckily it doesn't last. As soon as we get into the cave system, it dissipates, even though we're walking right past nests and I'm showing you different things. I think the difference here is that it meets the cold from down below, meets the warm from up from here, and they come up through there and they urinate and they defecate as they come up and into here and back down. So I think that's what we smell when we first go down. Alrighty, but you're going to find them really fascinating. I'm going to tell you more about them. And again, they're really cute, and the chances of us seeing them are slim, so don't worry, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about some of the water that's dripping down from the cave system this time of year. Spring is the best time. So May and June, because we got a lot of water that's been coming down through this rock filtering from rain and snowmelt. And you're going to get dripped on here and there. You get a drip on your face or your shoulder or your hand. I want you to know that's called a cave kiss. It is not our pack rats, I can guarantee you that. It's very pure water coming down through all this rock system. If you get a cave kiss, you're supposed to make a wish and keep it secret, okay? And this time of year, you can go out of this cave system with lots of cave kisses and lots of secret wishes. Alrighty? Yes, you had questions, two of you.
You said the water was pure. Is it like drinkable?
No, it's really crystal clear looking, but it's probably not real drinkable because two reasons. One, it's full of a lot of mineral content, so it probably doesn't taste all that good. But it's also where the pack rats travel back and forth when they come from the cave system up here to eat dinner. And they don't drink that water. They get all of their moisture, the water that they need from the plants that they eat. But they do travel up through those pool areas, and you'll see that they leave some deposits behind. So we wouldn't want to drink it. But it's beautifully clear. It's really beautiful. Yeah, another question? I thought both of you had your hands up right there.
No.
Nope. You two right here. Didn't you have a question? You both said. Oh, okay, good. Well, that took care of that one then. Alrighty, so we're going to go down in, and whoever comes in last, if you can just please dummy lock this for me so it looks like we're in there with this padlock, but we're not really locked in, that would be great. So take your time coming down in, and the last person that locks or closes this, you can also close that big gate at the bottom just till it clanks. You don't have to shut it all the way, just till it clanks. Alrighty, we're going down in. It's going to be 39 degrees. I hope you're all going to be okay in your shorts. Yep. Alrighty, so come on down. Be careful. All the tall folks, watch your heads as you step down into that main part here by the big gate, because there's some overhanging rock. Alrighty, let's go. Almost got You like it in here? It's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. Very cool, huh? You're gonna be a caver, aren't you? Okay, why don't you guys come back up into here, and again, watch your heads, but let's kind of get close together. We're gonna pack in here like pack rats. Remember, don't touch the rocks. And don't stand on the rocks back there because they're really, really slick. Thanks.
I'm gonna go first because I want to do this.
Okay, we are inside a limestone cave. Everything in here is Leadbetter, except Leadbetter shale. That's Leadbetter shale right there. It's a sedimentary rock, but everything else in here is metalline limestone. Even this right here, that's calcite. It's just a more pure form of the limestone. Now it's calcium carbonate limestone. So if you look on your Tums containers at home, if you have heartburn and you look in those containers, it says calcium carbonate. That's limestone. It's obviously been purified so we can actually eat it. So I don't want anybody licking the walls here because it's not good for you in here to do that. So we don't want to touch anything. I just want to let you know that calcium carbonate on your Tums is what this cave is. Alrighty, so can anybody tell me how limestone forms? Yes.
I think it's a whole bunch of sedimentary rock that compacts over a whole bunch of years.
It is sedimentary rock. It does come from different layers building up. It comes actually in that same form. It comes from ancient seashells. Critters are swimming around in the ocean. They die. They fall to the seabed. The weight of the water coming down on those shells and the other debris coming down on top of them actually compresses them, breaks down that shell, turns it into a limestone ooze, and then a limestone rock.
That's cool.
So now people will go, well, we're in the Selkirk Mountains and we're a long way from the Pacific Ocean. So how did we get seashells in this rock? Well, 500 million years ago, this was ocean. We're oceanfront. So those seashells fell down, they compressed, they turned into limestone rock. Now, we're still under the ocean. We got to get us up. So fast forward millions of years again. North America continent is shifting and drifting west. It runs into the Pacific plate. There's a big collision. An upthrust brings up that continental shelf. All that rock comes up. Selkirk Mountains come up. So thanks to plate tectonics, we're above ground now. But we still don't have a cave. The cave is 2 to 10 million years old. Geologists feel that it was started with just a crack. So debris coming down through it, ice coming down through it, water, starts dissolving the limestone because limestone dissolves from acidic water. For example, rain falls down through the atmosphere, picks up a little carbon dioxide, becomes a little acidic, comes down through the roots and the trees and the plants and such and the soil, becomes a little more acidic, and then it comes down and drips into here. So this cave is actually still changing. So the water that's dripping in here is actually continuing to change this cave system. I want you to look up on the ceiling. See that up there that looks like hair? What do you think that is?
Roots.
Roots. It is. It's roots. It's the roots from the plants that are growing up above us that we actually walked through on our way in here. This is the most shallow part of the cave ceiling. So these roots show you that it's limestone is porous and the water is coming down through it. The roots are able to come down through it. This is the only place you're going to see the roots though, because it's the most shallow. As we get down deeper in the cave, you won't see those roots anymore. Alrighty, I'm going to ask you a question over here. Who thinks they know what this green on the rock over here is? Anybody? It's not supposed to be here? Yes.
Algae?
It is. Algae. You guys are smart. I like that. So algae needs water and light in order to kick into that photosynthesis process. This cave's really dark, but it's definitely moist. However, when we put in our tour lights a long time ago, it kicked in that process. It gave them the light it needed. So we've changed out these bulbs. I don't know what kind of bulbs we have now, but they're no longer contributing to this algae growth. We don't want to scrub it off though, because limestone is soft and we don't want to risk damaging it. But you're going to see it everywhere our lights shine on a feature or into an area. Next to it, anybody want to tell me what that is right there? That white thing?
Is that your old electrical?
It is. It's an old insulator from that 1955 electrical system. Okay, we didn't want to take those out either because we don't want to damage the limestone, but you're going to see them here and there down that wall, and they're just going to sit there and become part of our history. Alrighty, they don't do anything for electricity anymore, which is good because they didn't work very well. Okay, so this is the longest and the steepest stairwell in the cave system. And if one of us should fall, it's like the domino effect. And we have a lot of people in here, and I don't think I can catch all of you. So please be really careful going down. We've got really good handrails here. They're cold and they're wet, but they do offer really good support. So just take your time. At the very bottom, right down there, it transitions from a concrete slab down to the cave floor. So use your lights there to give yourself a little bit of a safety check before you step off of that concrete. Alrighty? So be careful, take your time, here you go. It's really cool to see them on you. So thanks for sharing that.
That's a player what they're about.
One day.
Oh yeah, one day. Just like, yeah, awards.
Okay, you can come on into this area. We're gonna kind of squeeze together again like pack rats. Just kind of come up to here, up to the railing. We'll stay on this side, right in here. That's good. And then everybody can get down here. Okay, we're here. All right, these two formations right here are flowstones. They're about 80,000 years old. They've been heavily damaged. They're no longer growing. People crawled all over them, broke off stalactites, broke off other pieces of them, took them home for souvenirs a long time ago. So they've stopped growing. These will never be pretty. If you look back at the stairwell to the right where we came down, you're going to see a beautiful creamy color over there in gloss, a lot of glossiness. That's what they should look like. Those are calcite formations that are actually still growing, and they look healthy. Alrighty, this one over here used to be called the pipe organ, because it reminded some folks when it was intact of a big cathedral's pipe organ. Unfortunately, again, people crawled all over it, broke pieces off. They broke stalactites off here. Stalactites grow down like icicles. They broke these off, and it no longer looks like a pipe organ. But what it does show us, though, is inside you can see that calcite crystalline. A long time ago, when this was intact, they used to put candles in here. Would have been really stunning. Now, the smoke from the candles also created some damage to the stone, but it would have been really pretty. And it has a property called translucence, calcite does. Anybody know what translucent means?
See-through.
Okay, that's transparent. Transparent, like a glass, like a window, you can see through that. Translucent, yes.
Does it mean it glows?
Well, when I put my light behind this, it's going to shine through. You'll be able to see the light, but you won't be able to see the flashlight, okay? So it's not transparent, it lets light through, but it doesn't show what's on the other side, okay? Here we go. Oh. You don't get to see light coming through rock very often, so this is pretty special. Again, it would have been lovely with those candles in it, but it's no longer really pretty. That's why we don't touch it, okay? Touch any of them. Alrighty, now these stairs are kind of slick, so watch your feet. Come down on the cave floor. Okay, up here on this shelf, we're going to see the first pack rat nest. It looks like the forest floor because it is the forest floor. Remember what I told you they would pick up above?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of twigs and sticks and evergreen needles and some pine cones and some fir cone scale with seed. And there's also other special little treasures in there. They are known as trade rats and pack rats because they bring in everything, like I mentioned earlier, but they bring in shiny objects too that they really love, that they think will brighten up the inside of their nest. So if they're coming down in here with a treasure and they happen to find a treasure on the way that they like better than the first one they picked up, they drop the first one, pick up the second one, so they've traded. Okay, that's where they get the name trade rat. And you guys are old enough, I'm going to give you the Latin name for these guys too, because it's specific to their species. There's a lot of different species of pack rats. So it's Neotoma cinerea is who these guys are, the bushy-tailed wood rat. If you go online and look up, let's say you go to Smithsonian, Google Smithsonian pack rats, it's going to bring up a wonderful article with some photos, really cute photos of them, and also some really great information. And it's 1 or 2 pages, so it's a real easy read. And it'll show you some of the cool artifacts that the scientists have found inside some of these middens across the country and in Canada and around the world. Okay, so we're going to go down further, and I'm going to show you a really big midden. These nest sites are actually kept very clean. Inside the midden that I'm going to show you at the bottom, there are different compartments. There's a nest area, which is like their bedroom. They have a pantry for their foods, and they have a bathroom. So they have a toilet area. They keep the pantry and their nest sites very clean. They're actually fastidious little critters. People don't think that about them because they don't smell very good, because they urinate on everything. But those particular areas are kept really nice and clean. Yes?
Is that like graffiti on the walls?
Yes, unfortunate it is. We don't try to talk about it because we don't want anybody to actually spend time down in here seeing what people did to damage it so much on the walls. But yes, there's graffiti in here. It is damage. It's vandalism. It's been going on for a long time. hopefully it doesn't go on any longer while we have it. We try to educate folks to keep it pristine and yeah, we used to talk about it more, but it seemed to be taking away from most of the cave. So let's go down. To your left, there is a stalagmite growing on the floor. Stalagmites grow up from the floor from moisture. It's calcite. So as long as it's getting dripped on, it is growing. And up above it is the water that's dripping off of this formation. So as long as water keeps coming down this formation, it will continue to grow, and it will also continue to grow the stalagmite down below it. Now, when you come past, you're going to see a little piece of vegetation in there. That was brought in several weeks ago by a pack rat. Obviously, it had a mouthful, dropped a piece. They haven't been back to get it. There is a midden right there, so I'm assuming it may belong to somebody in that area. But because I have so much native plant background, I've been documenting, listing what species these little guys bring in here. They're considered generalists, which means they can eat a lot of different plants. They don't have to eat just a specific one or two, which is really helpful for them. But this little plant is called Oregon boxleaf, and we pass it when we come up that trail. And someday, if this continues to grow and no little pack rat takes that back to its nest, this is going to become rock, and that's going to become a fossil. And maybe 10,000 years from now, if a scientist comes through here and he or she decides to cut into this stalagmite, they might find that little fossil and that little plant. So we're actually looking at the possibility of a future fossil here, which I think is really cool. Okay, we're on this side. We've got green eggs and bacon. Everybody's probably heard of green eggs and ham. Somebody thought this looked like a slab of bacon. These are obviously green eggs in a fry pan, thanks to our algae. They were growing from water coming off of this wall, dripping down onto them. For some reason, the water stopped dripping here, and it went over to this side of the cave system. So now we have this beautiful flowstone over here. So watch your step coming down. There's lots of stairs here, and they're wet. You're going to look off to your left, you will see a dry stream channel. So ancient water came down through this and debris, maybe some ice too, but you can see it must have been a pretty good volume to carve that out. And it left some debris down, sediment down over the slope as it came down. And we know that this goes back about 50 feet because one of our staff went back there to explore a few years ago. He got in ways, and he finally had to get down on his belly to start sliding through a really narrow section. And he just started in. Pack rats began running back and forth across his legs. So he exited immediately, and he hasn't been back. But thanks to that bravery, we know it goes back about 50 feet before it narrows down. So you can think about that when you get up here and you can look inside there. We have the thermometer here on this post. We have another one down at the bottom so you can check our temperatures. People ask how we can stay at a balmy 39 degrees down in here. We have cold groundwater on 3 sides of us here, and we have about 50 feet of rock above us. So it keeps us pretty well insulated and keeps us at that nice constant 39. Okay, come on down. There's another big flowstone. As it comes down slope, has been dissolving that limestone, leaves the calcite. These are called brimstone pools. And you can see the water action from even the rippling from the drips. It's kind of pushing that calcite downstream from it, building it up like little dams. And it eventually just keeps getting higher and higher, which makes those pools deeper. This is very pure looking water, and again, like I said, you probably don't want to drink it because of the pack rats going back and forth in here, but it is really crystal clear. And that's what the drips that are coming down on your card or your face look like. They're really clear like that. Over here on the shelf, we have 2 stalagmites growing up from that shelf from water dripping off this wall. And then up here we have, these are called cave straws. They're hollow at the moment, hence the name straw. As they grow longer, they will eventually fill in, but right now, they're hollow. You can see the limestone has dissolved, left the calcite. They're continuing to grow. Now, these are the fastest growing formations in the cave system. They grow at an astoundingly fast clip of 1 inch per 100 years. So there are little speed demons. Some of the ones that are 4 or 5 inches long are already 400 or 500 years old. When you get down this far, this is the largest limestone column in Washington State. So we're really, really proud of it, even though we didn't do anything to create it, but we're actually taking care of it now, so we're really proud of it. This is approximately 1 million years old at least. And how it formed, anybody know how columns form? Anybody? Yes?
If you went a stalagmite and a stalactite meet in the middle.
That's exactly correct. You guys are so smart. Like I said, that's wonderful. Yes. Stalactite growing down from the ceiling meets a stalagmite growing up from the floor. They meet in the middle, they form a column. So when you come past this column, first off, you're gonna notice the walkway is really close to it, so please be careful when you go past, don't bump it with your knees or anything. But you'll notice it's real shiny, it's glossy, it's getting a lot of calcite flow over it, moisture. And you'll also notice in there are some little mosquitoes, maybe some midges, maybe a cave spider in this, kind of stuck there. They land on it, it's sticky, they can't get away. So the calcite flows over them, seals them in for eternity. So this is like a mini Jurassic Park, okay? You're also gonna see we have some earthworms in here. We've got one there, got another one over here somewhere. Sometimes we may find 6 or 8 of them on here. They don't seem to have a problem maneuvering across this like these insects. They seem to be able to just head on out. It takes them a while, but they do leave, and we don't find them stuck in this calcite. So you can see a couple of them in there today, here and there. If you look on this flap when you come past, you're going to see a couple of names right here. These are signatures that were written within the last 100 years. They're considered graffiti, vandalism, so they've damaged this column for all of us coming after them. But down below, there's a signature that goes left to right and a date underneath it. The woman's name is Pearl, and she was a school teacher in Medellin. She must have been a pretty cool lady and a great school teacher, because she was down in this cave system in August of 1912. Now in 1912, women didn't always go on such adventures like this, but Pearl did. She must have had a wonderful curiosity. She came at least this far. She may have gone all the way to the end of the cave, but we know she came at least this far. There were no lights in here, no structures to walk on. She would have come down on ropes with candles, a lantern, and she would have also been wearing a long skirt almost to the floor in 1912. Now, I would like to think, I don't know this for sure, but I would like to think that she was a remarkable lady, and she kind of thought ahead of what she might find down on this wet cave floor. And maybe she borrowed a pair of trousers from her dad or her brother, so she wouldn't have to drag her pretty skirts down through all this debris and water and mud. Some people say, well, she must have been really tall because her signature's here and the cave floor is down there. I'm assuming that there was probably a ladder here, a wooden ladder that someone had built for her to get to this point. When you come past, you're going to notice that the calcite is starting to flow over her signature. Eventually it's going to disappear, we won't see it anymore. So if you want to take a photo of it, that's great. We always kind of tip our hat to Pearl because she must have been a pretty cool lady. Alrighty. So when you get to the other side of this column, you're going to see the slope continues down. You'll see a bunch of calcite and rippling in it. It's a really pretty pattern. That's from water.